So we want to hear about the inspiring moments that has shaped SINE into the powerhouse it is today. So let's welcome on stage our esteemed panelists. We have with us Shri H.K. Mittal, former advisor, Department of Science and Technology. Please come on stage. Visionary leadership and initiatives, including the Nidhi program, playing a pivotal role in advancing entrepreneurship. Ms. Poyni Bhatt, the founding member and ex-CEO of SINE, whose leadership also has played a key role in the success of SINE. Mr. Samir Kumar, GP Athera Venture Partners, a seasoned VC whose association with SINE dates to the early days, and now he has seen the evolution up close with valuable insights. Mr. Gagan Goyal, GP IndiaQuotient, who has experienced SINE as both a founder of SINE incubated startup and later as an active venture capital investor, providing competitive narrative to SINE's role. Mr. Ankit Mehta, who's the founder of IdeaForge, adding a vibrant entrepreneurial voice. He represents the aspirations of young investors from the early years at SINE, bringing stories of how it supported those to turn bold ideas into an impactful venture. And we have Dr. Anirvan Chatterjee, who's the co-founder of HaystackAnalytics, an incubating company of SINE, which has developed genome-based personal diagnostic solutions. To anchor this panel, I would like to invite Mr. Ashank Desai. Ladies and gentlemen, a panel discussion.
Pass it on. Hello. Okay, I think we are running late, as you would have guessed. So we would let others come in slowly, and we need to start. And I also have some challenge of time, unfortunately. So I have requested my panelists to be kind enough to run around and not have a cup of tea. So let me start with, I am not going to introduce all of them. They have been introduced nicely. And one of them, of course, does not need any introduction at all, is Poyni. So I will not take any time on that. However, here we are with the people who made difference to SINE last 20 years in some form or the other. They are the living examples of what SINE has been and what SINE has achieved in different ways. So I think there can't be a better storyteller than all of them in terms of what SINE has done for them or what they have done for SINE. So I will start with that as an introduction to all of you, because this is an inspiration to many other entrepreneurs, incubators, and many others who are going to be around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the last end, Mr. H.K. Mittal, who is a former advisor to DST, but more importantly for us equally is he has been with SINE Association for almost 20 years, I think, and has seen rise of SINE from where we were to where we are, from outside. So my first question to you, sir, is you have been sitting on the government side and you have seen our rise. What were the expectations of from government about SINE, and how did we achieve them from your point of view? Because you are one of our important customers, if I may call it. So I'll start with that as a question. I may have some more question later, but I'll start from there.
All right. Thank you very much, Ashank Bhai. Let me try and live those memories, very sweet memories of 20 years back when Poyni came to our office. And we just had a casual chat. She went away. And then I was thinking, sitting in my office, that it's SINE we should be working with. I missed this opportunity of attracting Poyni under our fold of incubators. And then the other thought was that we are sitting here in Delhi, the national capital of India, but we do not have a presence in the business capital of the country. And we should have an incubator in Bombay. And what better institution than IIT to have an incubator in? So uh, we approached Poyni again. The first answer was, no, we don't need money. We have plenty of money.
Poyni said you didn't have money. I didn't believe that.
And this was the first incubator who said that we don't need money. Everyone else was coming to us for money, and this is an incubator which says that we don't need money. So somehow we convinced her and convinced the then IIT director. I remember Professor Devang Khakkar was there at Professor Ashok Desai. So we convinced them to have something from us, and that's how the journey began. But subsequently, there were many programs which SINE anchored. In fact, from a receiver, they became a giver. The transformation from being a receiver to a giver with DST funds not only happened during this journey of 20 years, in fact, it happened much earlier. I think it happened after 10 years or so. And many programs that we conceived together with this wonderful team. And Poyni has been that common rope, no, not rope, a common fine thread which tied all of us. Sorry, Poyni, for that, but I can't call you a rope. You are a fine thread, and it happened remarkably well. I think I will stop here, and maybe I'll come back if the time permits.
Thanks. I think that's important because we were all thinking how we get more money and get more funds for our entrepreneurs. So your thoughts are kind of interesting thought. Let me go to Poyni now in that same order. Poyni, I don't have to tell about your contribution. I think all of us know about it. But what is not known, obviously, is the micro level details of some of the things that you did. You built an organization which delivered ultimately and delivered so well in terms of all the results that we have seen. I don't want to repeat them. So one is two things you may like to cover. One is what are these internal things that really that you did and worked well for you, which has some lesson for other incubators. That's one. Number two, of course, you built all these relationships outside. That is mentors, that is government. What was that which was driving you to make that happen? What was driving, I can understand. But any learning lesson from any of those relationship with mentors, government, some key points which can help many others here. Go on.
Sure. So, Ashank, first correction, I didn't build the organization. Collectively, all of us did it. Yeah, just that I became a common point across all of you. I think much of what basically went into making of SINE you have covered in your this thing. Even minute details like institute support, professor in charge, directors. I think that was very, very important. And now I'm exposed to more than 200, 300 incubators in the ecosystem. I think most of them they don't get it is that they meaning academia don't get it is that incubation is not their extended department. They are a standalone entity and they have to be run as by the professionals who understands those business. So they are not getting that. And that has worked in, SINE, that leadership. Second thing is that governing board, I think you talk about it, but you played a little bit, lesser emphasis on that. I think the very foundation came from you people, Ashank. Your vision, mission, Satwalikars, very strong focus on governance thing. The knowledge that came from investors and entrepreneurs. Like Samir I have a hotline with Samir. It was so strong sounding board for me that Samir, I'm thinking when even he was not on the board, I used to call him that Samir, I'm thinking like this, whether it is correct or not. So these are the people actually who help us basically, lay the very, very strong foundation. But two things I will focus on is that it's actually the team, Ashank. Science team is phenomenal, and I think they get even bigger claps than perhaps I deserve. Uh, uh, and here is what we started with a very frugal resources. Mr. Mittal says, I don't need money. I actually needed money. But yeah, but we started with a very frugal resources. We didn't have enough money to hire people. In those days, talents were not there. Everyone we hired, we groomed, they got groomed on the site, and they took the total ownership to the extent that like I was not involved and then things were happening. So that is one thing I want to highlight. Second thing is that like our the culture that we built at SINE, I think that we consciously built out there. It was that, and two things in that culture. One was startup centricity. Yeah, we may be able to help, we may not be able to help, but they know anytime we had an open door policy, they would just barge in and start talking to us. Yeah, and wherever we were able to help, yeah, we basically supported. But they also knew that even if I'm stuck here, SINE is not going to help us, Poyni is not going to help us, but let's go and talk. Yeah, that diffuses the tension and all those things. So that's startup centricity. So all our activity was like, to help startup. And second thing, I think our team culture within the organization, yeah, it's so open. Like it was so open. Like, there was an open flow of information laterally, vertically, horizontally. Yeah. And everyone knew what the other person is doing and where to connect with the other person. And more importantly, I think there was a very strong faith within the team, and then vertically also. Each member knew that I have back of the other colleague. I think this too really helped, in SINE, culture. So these are the two things.
I'll come to you now, sir. Yes. So you are amongst all of them, I think. Amongst means three of them first, before all of them, I think.
Among
Some
all
of them,
first.
some of them have thanked you, in fact, in my mail that for your guidance. So you have been kind of our showcase person. But what I want to know from you is more specifically, there was early days of entrepreneurship. There was nothing ecosystem which was supporting entrepreneurship. I of course started entrepreneurship much earlier where nobody was there, but at least you had something. But from there, it had to be built to support entrepreneurs in science specifically, but on otherwise. And you have come from now one side as entrepreneur to other side as a financier and somebody who is making entrepreneur successful. What are your thoughts on that ecosystem issue and how SINE and what is need to be done also? Maybe journey is not complete.
So maybe I will cover some part from what you have asked and maybe something which I'm very keen to share. Okay, but that will cover some part of what you have asked. So just to give a context, I'm talking about a time 2005. There was no Facebook, no WhatsApp, there was no mobile phone. Normal phone थे Nokia वाले. Okay, Sequoia Capital कौन होता है? IndiaQuotient क्या होता है? कुछ नहीं सुना था. Like we have not heard about any other things in venture world क्या होता है. So SINE was started at that time, and like I was fortunate to be part of seeing like SINE started, and like maybe after a year or year and a half, we got incubation and we started interacting. In fact, they were crafting their policies. They were talking to us informally before we got incubated, and then we started before that, and like parallelly SINE was also getting started. So I've seen that time of SINE getting conceptualized, and I think what Poyni covered, SINE in my view is like a company which started that time, along with Poyni and many bunch of like operator founders, co-founders came together. They were also learning how to help companies. And interestingly, we were also learning how to build companies. The good part was that for us, they were available, as she said, that even they don't know how, like we all had a business idea or a technology, but usko company में कैसे convert करना है, एक बड़ा company कैसे बनाना है. I think that what SINE tried helping us as a brainstorming partner. They knew some things, like on legal and finance. Sometimes most of the time they didn't knew anything. Like when we raised our first venture capital round in 2008, टर्म शीट क्या होता है, वेंचर कैपिटल क्या होता है, इक्विटी बेस्ड फाइनेंसिंग कैसे वर्क करता है, लीग प्रेफ क्या होता है, आई थिंक लॉट ऑफ टर्म्स साइन आल्सो डिडंट न्यू, बट दे वर रेडी टू सिट डाउन विद अस, ब्रेनस्टॉर्म, चलो देखते हैं, पढ़ते हैं क्या है. So I think, like, I can't tell you so important role a incubator played that time, which was very, very much needed because there was no ecosystem. Now maybe what I can say is that the market has matured. I'm a VC now and I work with so many young entrepreneurs. So a lot of things SINE like has done in 20 years is available. But still, any damn founder who comes out of IIT Bombay, like a prestigious institute today, he still needs a lot of help. We still don't have a Y Combinator in India. Okay, we still have a lot of things not being available that way. So obviously, like SINE 2.0, I feel that SINE 2.0, there's a time for SINE 2.0, and it can have a bigger impact than 1.0, and we all can contribute to that in some or other way.
Thanks for putting that thought that Y Combinator is a model which we've been discussing in SINE, by the way, for your information, as to what we can do to make it happen. But yes, what you are seeing is SINE, of course, has done a great job by itself, but there are few pieces which needs to be looked at properly before we can go into SINE 2.0. And I think we need your guidance for that. I hope you are available to us.
Yes, definitely.
If
It's
you
my
are
alma
not,
matter.
if you are not available, also we'll pull you.
No.
anyway.
I think this goes
You are-
without saying.
you
I
are-
think SINE has built me, SINE has built Ankit,
I know.
and like indirectly a lot of other people, and like those people have built, like Ola has built so many other things. So I think we
know.
can't give thankless thank you to first IIT Bombay and then maybe SINE. I think these are the two most important people whom, if I have to give thanks in my life, is those two people. And I think for many of you who are sitting around, similar feeling.
Thanks for your kind words. Anirvan, I'll come to you now. You have kind of been inflection point in a way. I remember we were never talking of any healthcare related aspects first 10 years in, we didn't have anyone. And I was greatly surprised to see IIT alums getting into healthcare. I said, they don't teach you anything. There is nothing about healthcare, and we are in science used to have A and B group. I don't know at your time what it was called. I was away from biology all the time. So I said, what is happening? You have done a great job. You have saved lives of 10,000 patients in ICUs, clinics. You have enabling doctors to give personalized medicine. You in COVID time, of course, you had done that great work. When everybody was talking RT-PCR and all. Tell me, how was SINE adequate to support you in this completely new area? Because SINE is used to all, our familiar technology issues. How is that journey, and how SINE has impacted specifically for that to happen? I'm sure you have your own talent in bio and health, that of course is there, but I'm more talking of SINE.
Thanks again for the question, and also to SINE. So to give you some context, right? What are we talking of? Is today we are providing genome sequencing based diagnostics for antimicrobial resistance to ICUs in tertiary healthcare centers in India. It's a mouthful. Now, but all of this is almost unimaginable even today when this is happening at Haystack. Is literally there are patients in slums who are receiving genome sequencing based TB reports, and there are patients in ICU who have been misdiagnosed with dengue but actually have a bacterial infection, and we are able to detect it. It literally is happening at a cost which is comparable or lesser than RT-PCR. And all of this actually started from a very simple, innocuous passing statement by Poyni. And that is precisely the whole story of Haystack. I was discussing with Poyni, Gaurav and I, Gaurav is sitting there, my co-founder. Professor Kiran, we were discussing with Poyni. I had come back from Oxford. We had already launched TB genomics in UK, and I was telling that I'm trying to work with the ICMR and the National TB. And she heard all of this, and she's generally impatient when you're trying to tell her a lot of things.
That is not surprise.
She and she tells me, "Khud kar lo, do it yourself." I have no idea what does she mean by do it yourself. And I think that is the place where the team comes in from SINE. I receive a lean canvas. Somebody gave me Peter Thiel's book. That is where I started from. Believe me. I started from a lean canvas and a Peter Thiel's book. It took me a year to understand the difference between novelty and unique value proposition. And then another 2 years to figure out GTM. But I think in the midst of all of this, there is Pranita, there is Prasad, Hari, all of them we have seen. Shraddha is sitting here, Partha is here. Can you imagine in the middle of COVID, we decided to do sequencing in 48 hours. People were talking of RT-PCR turnaround time of 3 days. We wanted to do a 48-hour COVID sequencing. All of that happened right here. I remember to get into IIT, we needed the letter from the director. We got that letter. We got the sequencing lab started. Bionest ही नहीं बना था तब तक. They got the Bionest. Literally, मुझे लगता है SINE created the Bionest for Haystack. So that is where I am in my head as far as the story of Haystack is concerned. It literally started from a very innocuous statement, and then a huge amount of support from the entire team. I think we have been called at SINE a company which just goes and occupies space. And I think I'm very thankful to SINE for that kind of support. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much funding we raise. Doing work in genome sequencing and deep tech, it is not just about funding. It is about somebody sharing that intent to solve our own problems. And I think that's what Poyni brings in and SINE brings in.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Ashank, I just want to add here this COVID thing is very interesting. We were at the peak of lockdown. Yeah, and then Praveen mentioned about this coverage, and we are trying. And late evening or early morning, he calls me, Poyni, मेरे को COVID virus को यहाँ पे लाना है. Yeah, I don't know how do you react to this, right? That is what he meant by basically doing all this sequencing in IIT Bombay. And you have to, bring entire system around this COVID virus thing. And we are not understanding what is COVID virus and कैसा है. Like नाम सुन के डर लगता था, ऐसा था. This was early days. No one had figured out what that. At the end of the whole thing, no, हम live नहीं रहे, मरा हुआ ला रहे. So that is, I think, got IIT,
Great. See, this is an interesting story. I was not aware of this. Good that I attended this event. So the point is, the team that played part in inspiring you and making it happen, which is what people don't see. People only see money. They got money. They got many things. And of course, GTM and other thing is always was top of my mind in terms of making it happen. I used to keep on telling her, Poyni, let's improve GTM. That's the issue really for the whole hour. Anyway, I don't want to spend time. Of course, Ankit is poster child of our SINE. First company to go first. No, they were the first to go public, isn't it? Yeah, they were first. Yeah, first and only. Yeah. So you have been, of course, a story by itself. I don't have to tell the world what you did in drone, but I was surprised that you were doing something else. You are telling me, and then you moved to this. So my question to you is: does SINE has anything to do with that, other than, of course, whatever your thoughts on SINE are?
No, absolutely. I think, I would, like Gagan mentioned, right, I would thank the only two names that I took in my speech on the IPO was actual names that I took was actually three, but one was Professor Amarnath, who's right here a short while back, and Poyni ma'am and Gani. And the reason I took those names is because they're connected to the three most important things that happened to us and support that I received. One was getting a mentor like Professor Amarnath at IIT Bombay, who ensured that even if he had the craziest idea, we had the money to you implement it. And the courage that IIT Bombay had, and I've seen other colleges, Poyni ma'am, you were mentioning about other colleges, and I've seen other colleges how they use their money. If they put money behind somebody else's idea, they have 10 professors buzzing around and making sure that it is successful. And Professor Amarnath used to say that I've given you the money, as long as you show me something that you've built, I don't care about whether it works or not. It was phenomenal. And that coming to SINE and him being the professor in charge in that time, it was absolutely the perfect storm in terms of supporting a company that that had a lot of ideas, but was trying to figure out which one of them will click. And I remember that we used to Gagan used to be the reason we were able to eat bread in my time when I quit my job. Took about a year for us to register IdeaForge. Before registration, Poyni ma'am was not willing to take us in. Then we got incubated at SINE, and then every time there would be a problem, I would just go and sit with ma'am, and like ma'am said, just being a very patient listener. Unlike what others said, I think for me, ma'am has always been a very, very patient listener, and being a very patient, landlord. I think these were two very important things for us to survive, right? And I'm saying that because it's very important. I remember that we didn't have money, right? I mean, if SINE had asked us for rent purposefully at any point in time, I think we would have folded long back. Like within the first 6 months, we would have folded because we never had money to pay our rent also. And somehow or the other, they would be patient, they would understand our situation. And I think that's what it actually takes to build technology. And I think for us, it took us 2 iterations, right? We started off with building a charging solution for portable electronics, which we thought, and everyone thought, including I would say that everyone at SINE who incubated us, because that's the idea we got incubated on. Everyone thought it should work, but we were sitting in the urban India, and all of us who we were talking to was in the urban India. Everyone thought that this will be useful. But when we went to the real world, we realized that it was selling more in the cities where people found it useful than it was selling in the areas we wanted to impact. And after a period of time, you start realizing that this is not going to go where we want it to go. And thankfully, we had been using the drones technology as a way to survive. We were actually, and thanks to again IIT Bombay, we used to work with the aerospace department. We used to do these projects with them that were related to drones. And in 2008, I think we helped them secure top honors in a competition alongside MIT US. And the attacks on Mumbai happened. And I think those 2 events, made us rethink of what we want to do and what do we enjoy doing the most, which was trying to build a low-cost, relatively low-tech solution, but also a very low-margin solution eventually, right? To a high-tech, high-margin, and very high-value system. I think that pivot happened at that time because we started to see traction on our technology and the grounds there. And I think you get that feeling at some point in time that time has come to let go of one thing and stick to the other thing that is working.
Thanks.
So I think that happens.
I think let me tell all of you entrepreneurs that we in board anything discuss, and if anything she was not comfortable about entrepreneurial support, she will fight for all of you. Let me tell you that. I'll give you instances and instances. There was some suggestion to do this, do that. She says, no, this won't work. You don't know these guys.
So,
She was
I can
fighting
say
for
one
you.
thing very clearly, and like we had a very early relationship, but we always used to feel Poyni was with us, not with the board.
He was.
She was our person in the board, and like we used to get that feeling, like we were very immature people that time, but we used to get that sense very
She
easily.
did that.
हमारी fight भी बहुत होती थी पोइनी से, ऐसा नहीं था, like हम सब ने बहुत लड़ाई करी है पोइनी से, प्रसाद से, कृष्णवी मैम से, सब से, but we always knew कि she is with us, and like that she's our representative in board and at IIT Bombay, so that was always we had that feeling.
Thanks. Now the last and not the least, of course, I had a good fortune of working with him for many, many years, more than a decade. And he was, board's ear for the input, rather, to the finance-related issues. He knew, he has done it. He knows what entrepreneurs need. He has made it successful, so many entrepreneurs. What are your thoughts, Samir? What exactly? I have to run, though, with your permission, but you carry on. I have a, sorry for this, I have a flight to international flight to catch up, which I had postponed. So I
Don't
think
worry, we will continue.
I'll leave it to Shaji whether how long you want to continue, because we're already late. Yeah. So one is that you may like to close now only, then it's okay. Then I'll just wait. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll keep it brief. My association with SINE, which was Crescent then, and my venture capital journey have started together. So I've really seen SINE from those days. I used to come here just to look for deal flow. There was no deal flow concept in those days. I've seen Gagan from his early days. I've seen Ankit from his mechanical charger days and so on. The only thing I'll comment, and I will not take Poyni's name. I think people are sick of hearing Poyni. But I'll just talk of one thing. That, and I'm sure Gagan and Ankit and even Anirvan will bear me out on this, that entrepreneurship is a tough journey. Today, Ankit is celebrated. He's IdeaForge. He's listed. You know, we see the success and glamour, but there is so much of toil, sweat, blood, and tears behind that. And it is a lonely journey. Even if you have 3 co-founders, it is a lonely journey. And I think the role that SINE has played, and I hope that this will continue in SINE 2.0, technologies will change, the legal agreements will change, structures will change, what startups you incubate will change, all that is fine. But what must not change is this empathy for entrepreneurs. When they are lonely, SINE is their companion. When they are down, and they will be down, and I'm sure even Anirvan with all his successes will talk about times when he's felt very, very low. SINE must be the organization that holds the entrepreneur by their hands and lifts them up. And if you can do these 2 things, I think SINE 2.0 will also be extremely successful.
Great thought. Great thought. There is no better way to end this discussion without that. Because I think we'd underestimate that, the mental issue and psychological issues, and many of them give up after that. If SINE can, and many of the failures may be only because of what you are saying. So it is great thought you have made, and I'm sure Shaji and others are listening to it, and all the team. So again, great thing to Poyni, team, Shaji, all others who have involved. You have made them successful. That's what they are saying. Thank you very much.
Thank
I have
you.
to run though. I think we need to formally thank. I leave it to.
Thank you so very much for moderating that panel discussion, Mr. Desai. I would like to invite on stage Mr. Prasad Shetty to present a token of our appreciation to all our panelists. They've been so candid in talking about their journey, some of the challenges they face, and what we can see SINE 2.0 as well holds. So thank you all, and please do appreciate and accept a small token of appreciation on our behalf. A round of applause for our panelists. Wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. A warm round of applause. Our panelists have been so forthcoming, candid, and wonderful speaking to them and understanding so much more about their journey.